Listening to Bad Dog Agility, bringing you training tips, interviews, and news about the great sport of dog agility.
This podcast is the audio from Video 1 in our workshop series, Your Next 12 Months in Dog Agility. And in this podcast, we're going to talk about the reasons why we all love agility so much and why our own personal why matters. Today's podcast is brought to you by hititboard.com and the Teeter Teach It, an easy-to-use tool that controls the amount of tip on your teeter so you can introduce motion to your dog in a gradual way. Go to hititboard.com for the new Teeter Teach It and other training tools and toys. Use discount code BDA10 to get 10% off your order. That's hititboard.com.
All right, you want to get started?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. Well, we want to welcome everyone to our special 4-part workshop, and we are calling this workshop Your Next 12 Months in Agility. You know, summer's coming up. We're a little bit coming out of COVID, and everybody's looking at each other saying, you know, what comes next? What comes next for me and my dog in agility? And whether you're a newcomer to agility or you're a longtime veteran of the sport, this is the place to be if you're looking to get better at agility. Over the next 8 days, we're going to have 4 different live webinars, and we're going to help you create a path from where you are right now to where you want to be. Let me introduce everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Esteban Fernandez-Lopez. This is my wife, Sarah Fernandez-Lopez, not to be confused with Sarah Baker, 3-time national champ who's not here on this webinar. But we are the people behind Bad Dog Agility. If you also include Jennifer Crank, she's got the beautiful background. She's calling in from Ohio.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Jennifer. And she actually just won the Premier Cup.
Yay!
With her Sheltie Swift a couple days ago.
Thank you.
For the American Kennel Club. We're longtime agility competitors. We're the voices you hear on the podcast. So for the podcast listeners, all 3 of us should sound very familiar to you. You should recognize our voices. And so now you see the faces. All right. And you may notice that some of us got haircuts. I'm not going to point out which ones got haircuts, but it's a COVID thing. It's a COVID thing, right?
It's either long or short, right?
That's right. That's right. And we're also instructors, all of us, at the Bad Dog Agility Academy, where we teach online. People can train with us online. That's
right. And before we get started, we are going to have a giveaway. We want to reach as many people as possible with this workshop. So we are going to give away a toy prize package to somebody who shares this live video. So this is for Facebook, share on Facebook. And at the end of this presentation, we'll pick one person at random who has shared, and just leave a comment that says, I shared, so that I know to, put you in the raffle and look for it.
Where should they leave the comment?
On the Facebook thread.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I will pull one of those at random, and you're going to get 2 toys here. We have a Squigglet, great little tug toy here that our dogs seem to like a lot.
Our poodle loves it.
Yeah, she does. And then a Tug-It 2, which is kind of like one of those food ones. You can put food in it, but you can also tug on it. So it's kind of a nice transition toy. So that is what we're going to give away to one person that we will pick at random at the end of the podcast. If you are not on Facebook, don't even worry about it. We have another giveaway happening at the end, and I will tell you about that at the end. All right. So a few days ago, I sent an email out to everybody who follows Bad Dog Agility, and I asked them why they love dog agility. I got hundreds of responses. Thank you so much to everybody who shared your thoughts with me, your responses. We read all of them. And when I look at those comments, we saw that they fall into 9 different categories. So we kind of, bucketed them up into these different categories. So I'm going to share my screen here real quick. Boop. And there is no particular order here, but these are the reasons why people love dog agility. So there's the thrill of competition and the challenge of training. So I kind of view both of those as like that feeling of accomplishment, of having like done something and seeing that accomplishment and seeing it play out in the agility ring.
Yeah, if you follow us closely, I'm always talking about how dog agility is a sport, like an actual real sport. You and your dog are athletes. Your dog is a canine athlete. And I think about my own background, right? I swam in high school and college, loved playing basketball, did intramural sports, even in medical school. And when I was a resident, I would keep trying to play basketball. Now in my 40s, so I've had to back off on the basketball, but always loved sports and the competitive aspect of it, the challenge of it. the training component to it, right? And so a lot of people who do agility do have sports backgrounds. I'm looking at someone right now in beautiful weather, Ohio, and she herself has a sports background. Jen, can you tell us, refresh our memory? What sports did you do?
So I never did any sports outside of high school, but I did do 6 years of track and field. And then my husband went to college on a track and field scholarship. So we come from very much a kind of running and competitive cross country track and field background. And I feel like for me, the challenge of training, that one really hit hard for me. Yes, I like to compete. However, so much of it is kind of that internal, can I prove to myself that I can tackle this task? I know for me, I've put challenges or I've put skills on my dogs that I know they're not going to need or that I'm never going to see, just to prove to myself that I can teach it and that I can train it. I've seen students get more excited about nailing a drill or like a hard weave pull entry in training than they have even with a cue. So for me, a big part of my why is that challenge and of the training part. I mean, yeah, the competitions are fun, but I definitely go for the challenge part.
Yeah, it makes me think of the 8 moves challenge that we just did on our website. If anybody did that, you leave a comment and let me know. But that was one of those things where that's nothing you're going to have to ever really do. But it was like I was challenged and I accepted the challenge and went out there and proved that I could do it. And it was a lot of fun. So by far, the answer that I got the absolute most was the connection with the dog, the bond that we build with the dog. And when I think back to like when I was a kid and we had the family dog, right? And I loved the pets that I had growing up, but the relationship that I have with my agility dogs is nothing like the relationship that I have with the pet dogs. I love them, but this is just completely different. Like, let me know if, like, in the comments, just let me know if you've had that same experience of having such a different relationship with your competition dog than what you had with a pet dog. And I think a lot of that is because you get to see like what they are truly, truly capable of in a way that you might not with a family pet. To see the athleticism, to see the smarts that they're able to do, the way that they're able to learn is just amazing. All right, we have dogs' physical well-being. So I think of this as something that sometimes draws people into the sport. They want to do something active with their dog. They want to keep their dog active. And then I think it kind of shifts where, you know, once you get some experience with the sport, now you continue to put a lot of focus on the physical well-being to benefit your agility. So you start with agility benefiting your physical well-being, and then you end with the physical well-being benefiting the agility, you know, trying to make sure that your dog is not going to be injured, has the strength that they need, and can be, you know, faster and better at the sport through this.
Yeah, I want my dogs to like live a long, healthy, sound life with or without agility. And it makes me very excited, very proud when I'll be walking my dog around. My oldest just turned 14 last week. And I had some of my friends over, non-agility friends, and they're like, he's 14. He looks amazing. And I think it's because of taking really good care of them for agility. But it kind of works, as you said, full circle. You know, you keep them in shape to do agility. Agility helps keep them young physically and mentally. So that well-being part, a huge reason why a lot of people get into it or potentially stay in it.
Yeah. When we were getting ready, I asked our vet, who is also our training partner, and I said, would you say that like your average agility client dog is like physically, you know, more healthy and fit than your average pet dog? And she said 1,000%, 1,000% agree with that statement. And going right along with the physical well-being is the mental well-being. So, you know, going back to the connection that we have with the dogs, like dogs crave that, and working together is really beneficial to them mentally, but also using their brains to problem solve is also very beneficial to them mentally.
Yeah, in that way, dogs kind of remind me of kids. You know, it's not just enough to give them a bunch of sugar and run them into the ground. Physically, you want to stimulate their mind. You want to teach them some things. And when they're out there learning and problem solving, I think life's a little better for them, right? It's a little more enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
They appreciate the challenge. And so, I think agility is different from the other dog sports in that sense, right? It's different from flyball. It's different from dock diving. I think it's even more complex and mentally challenging than, say, obedience or IPO or any of those other sports as well. So agility, I think, is very unique.
And then we have the handler's physical well-being. I can't tell you how many times I have seen handlers put in so much effort to get in shape, to lose a few pounds, to rehab a knee, all because they wanted to do better in agility, do better for their dogs. And it's agility as motivation, right? We may struggle to eat right for ourselves, but, put that relationship on the line, put that agility on the line. And suddenly it's like we find all of this motivation.
Yeah. If you're listening, you're a dog person, right? So,
right.
It's always amazing what we do for our dogs. Everybody here's done something, whether it's, what we feed them or what we've bought them or what we sacrifice to get in those training sessions. But like here, we're actually talking about like what we do for them. We try to get faster, maybe have a running coach, or we try to lose weight, or, it's the we as handler physical well-being. I mean, I have handlers and students that aren't even planning to show, but they're just doing it because they want to stay young and they want to stay fit for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't want to name any names, but I have friends in the dog agility world who do those steps. Are you one of those people that do the 10,000 steps? The Fitbit? And they'll be at like 9,992 in the hotel at Nationals. And then they'll be like, I need to walk back and forth. I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, I got to get in my 10,000 steps.
Not at Nationals, because at Nationals, they would have definitely easily gotten in their 10,000 steps. But right. I know what you're talking about.
Or now with all the dog GPSs and the dog counters, it's the same thing with the dogs. Oh, let's go walk a little bit more to try to get those steps on the dog collars.
Right.
That goes back to that dog's physical well-being.
Right, exactly. I love this from Stacy. She totally saw where I was going. She posted this before I got to this slide. So you were beating me to the punch, Stacy. That's exactly right. It is the dog's well-being and also the handlers. And this is the one I really love this, handler's mental well-being. This is the one that surprised me. It's because it's the one that I didn't think of myself, but when I read these quotes, it was absolutely true. There is so much mental benefit to the handler to doing agility. And it made me think of a time, I worked in software right out of college, and it was during the dot-com boom. And then I also worked in software during the dot-com bust. So I worked at one of those companies where, one day with zero warning, they had a big company-wide meeting and they said, we're sorry, things aren't going well. We wanted to keep everybody, but we're just going to have to make some big cuts. And they literally laid off like half of the company overnight. They were like, go talk to your manager and they'll let you know if you have a job or not. And it was so incredibly stressful. And I couldn't think about anything else except for, all this stuff that was going on in my life. And I couldn't sleep very well and I couldn't eat very well. And we happened to have a dog show that weekend. I actually almost want to say that it was Gypsy's debut, like our first dog's debut in agility. Wow. And we went, and I even thought about not going. And at some point during the first day of the trial, in the middle of the day, I realized I wasn't thinking about it anymore. I'd forgotten about it. This big, huge thing that had me so stressed out, I'd forgotten about it because I was so, just sucked into this amazing sport of agility. And I think that so many people mention just the perspective that they have, or just the being in the moment, being in the now, not worrying about the rest of life. And I think that, we're not always conscious of what a big deal that is for us, how much that helps us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you had mentioned to me medical school, like juggling medical school and agility and having that outlet of agility.
Hey, med school's hard. Residency is hard. And you have bad days. And when I was out there doing agility and walking the course and running the dog, I just don't even think about it. So it's like the one time of the day. Because even when you come home, like you're thinking about it. You're thinking about some patient. You're like, I hope this happens or that happens overnight or this doesn't happen overnight. I'm going to call this nurse right before I go to bed just to check. And then you're going to be out there at 5 the next morning following up. But, for those couple hours you're at practice, I mean, you're just not thinking about it. So
that's right.
It's a welcome relief.
Yeah. Terry says, agility is my zen. Exactly right.
Well put.
We have the social connection. I think this has been more obvious to all of us during COVID. I think a lot of people knew that it was a big part of their social life, but I think some people maybe didn't realize how much it was, how much that mattered to them. And so being able to, a lot of us, our friends also do agility, right? It is our entire social circle for the most part. So it's really, really important. And I think with COVID, online communities have increased in importance, being able to keep up with your agility friends and follow them on Facebook and things like that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it's just fun. Like agility is a fun sport and it has so many magic moments that happen, and they happen in everything. They happen in trialing, they happen in training, they happen, at big events, at local trials, just these moments where things are just amazing.
Yeah, I don't know if it would fall under like social connection or fun or both, but some of my absolute best friends I've met through agility. Like we are best friends now. We do non-agility things together, but I met them through agility, and we've had some of the most incredible dinners and road trips, traveling stuff, just truly experiences through meeting great people and just having a good time. Even the trip outside of the dog event. Yeah. Okay. The dog show was fun, but the traveling down or the, stays that you did on the way there or after the event. I mean, just total blast and great memories for me.
Yeah, exactly right. So, we loved reading all of these emails and it was so inspiring. And I think it also, it's like when you read them, you're like nodding your head along. You're like, yes, I feel that way too for a lot of these. So I wanted to share some of my favorites here. Here we have the challenge and thrill of competing at trials and being brave enough to show up and do it.
Yeah, I think, that's really what I think the sport is about for me, that competitive aspect, because it takes a lot of courage to step up and do something in front of other people, right? And have this possibility of failure or not looking good, that sort of thing. So, there's some element of courage there. We all know the sport is very, very challenging, but there's also that thrill, the adrenaline rush you get from doing something. I think that's both physically tough, mentally tough, and there's such a big payoff, and you're not doing it alone, right? It's not like you're, I don't even know, like a math competition or something where it's you and the problem and you need to get the right answer. There's a dog here that you're interacting with, and it's just really an amazing thing. So that's a great quote.
We had some great quotes that I thought really focused on that handler well-being, right? It is a time spent in the here and now. Not on the internet, not worrying or wondering about the future or mulling about the past. I love how running agility eclipses all other thoughts and concerns. The stress, worry, irritation of everyday life simply went away once we stepped to the line.
Yeah, and I think we have a great quote here from Lonnie. Go ahead and pull that up. And she says agility is her happy place, and her family will tell you it's the only thing in her entire life that she ever did she wasn't immediately good at. Before agility, if it was hard, she would quit. So it tells you two things, right? That we were just talking about. I mentioned how tough the sport was, right? So you get that competitive aspect, the adrenaline rush from putting in the work and succeeding there, and how agility is your happy place, which Jen just walked us through here. So, I think that's a great comment there.
These are some that I put under the category of magic moments. So I love seeing my dog in flight. I love dog agility because I love the high of the feeling of being in perfect sync with my partner. When we come out of the ring and we know we nailed it, there's no better feeling. We are far from perfect, but those moments when everything between us flows smoothly and we communicate effortlessly together is thrilling. And I love these because I feel like a lot of these moments, it doesn't have to be an entire run. It doesn't have to be a cue. It can be just that moment where everything comes together and it's just magic.
Yeah. When they finally nail a tough weave entry. You're like, yes.
That's right. So this one I really like. The person who emailed this said she was on the older side. And she said she loves it because it encompasses all of the activities that are recommended for aging people like myself to remain healthy. Challenging the brain, moving, thinking fast, socializing.
Yeah. So I feel obligated here as the physician to speak up. I worked in primary care, and this is what we tell our patients when they come to see us. You need to do something that's mentally stimulating. You guys need to get out, walk around the neighborhood, basically get off the couch and sofa. And you want to build that support network, right? And this is especially important for people who are aging. And how old is aging? I'm going to say if you're on this side of 30, you're aging. So you should be looking at doing these things. So I think this was a really good quote. If whoever sent us that quote, is watching.
And then here I got permission to credit this one because to me it read like a poem. This was from Linda and her dog Tess. She says, "Time does not exist. Every distraction around us melts away. It's just her and I in that ring, focusing on each other, having fun. The outcome does not matter. I know I'm running with my best friend. This is our time." So I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, I want to share this comment here.
Mm-hmm.
And Lindsay says, "I like that about agility, keeping you in the here and now." She hadn't really thought about it like that, but that's probably one of the few times she's really 100% in the moment. And it's an amazing thing to really be in the moment. So.
Yep.
All right. Now that we've seen why people do agility, we're ready to ask the next question. Why ask why? Anybody? Does anybody remember the Budweiser commercials? Why ask why? Yeah, when
I got nothing.
Jen didn't know, Sarah didn't know.
know.
Okay, I can't be the only one. So if you know the commercial that I am talking about, the Budweiser commercial, the Bud Light, can you just type beer into the comments? I just need one person to type in beer.
Somebody's going to throw you a bone and just do it.
They would do
anyway.
something funny, and it would be like, "Why ask why?" And it was a beer commercial. You see it a lot during football games. Well, anyway, it turns out that before we can look forward to the next 12 months and decide how we're going to train, right? How we're going to compete. We each need to know our own personal why. Thank you, Stacy. Put that up right now. Put that up right now.
Wait, there's that.
Okay. Stacy says beer. That's right. Mary's got my back. Okay. They know the commercial that I'm talking about. That
and Leslie, I do.
That means we are cooler than the others. So just shh, it'll be our secret. Why ask why? Exactly.
All right, back on track.
But our why informs our goal setting. Okay. And that's important because when it comes to goal setting, a lot of people tell me the same thing, right? We want to get cues. We want titles. We want to qualify for this event. And then we want to do well at that event. And these are all fine goals. I have no problems with those goals. But let's look back at the 9 categories of why that we got from you guys, right? That Sarah put together. Not one person sent us an email saying their why was to get cues or titles. Okay. So what's going on here, right? We have a real disconnect between how we set goals and why we do the sport in the first place.
I think it's very easy to lose sight of this why when we get too focused on our outcomes, especially when we have results-oriented goals. I want the cue or I want the title, but what happens when we don't achieve that? Or I want to get qualified for nationals, and then COVID kind of took that away from many people as they didn't have many trials, and then they got really upset. But when thinking about your why, it's going to keep you grounded when things get tough, right? When your contact training isn't going well, when you haven't had a clean run for several shows in a row, maybe your dog gets hurt or COVID shuts down trials around the world. Do these factors, do they really affect your why? And knowing your why will help put that all in perspective and really keep you grounded.
Exactly. And so we want you to dig deeper into your why. Even those of you who already emailed me and answered the question, why you do agility, I'm going to give you a little bit of structure to think about it more. Or maybe after seeing what other people have said and the 9 categories, you've thought of some other reasons why you love this sport so much. So we have a worksheet for you. Let me pull up on the screen again. We have a worksheet for you to help you figure out your why. And you're going to get this worksheet at baddogagility.com/video1. I'll put that there as well. baddogagility.com/video1. And if you scroll down a little bit, you put in that's the replay page for this. And if you scroll down a little bit, you put your email address and we will send you this worksheet. But we want to walk you through what this worksheet, what we're using it for, how you can fill it out, explain it a little bit. And so we're using Esteban as a guinea pig.
That's right.
So
Sarah made me do it.
I did. I made him do it. So the first page of this is figuring out your why. And I just have a couple of thought experiments for you to answer these questions. And it's going to kind of get at why you love this sport.
Yeah. So Sarah asks, if I couldn't compete in agility, the thing I would miss most would be, and I couldn't just put one thing. I would definitely miss the bonding that I would get with my dog, right? I would miss the adrenaline. I think I mentioned that earlier from the actual competition. And I would miss watching other people run. I didn't really think about that until all this COVID stuff happened. And I really couldn't watch people run, right? And even the number of videos that people were posting online, the big trials simply weren't happening, right? And so I realized I enjoy it as a spectator, and I was missing out on that. And also I'm missing all the social stuff with friends. Going out is a big deal. Every year we go to Westminster and we'd have the big dinner at the Korean barbecue and get all the people together and talk about it and be excited and happy and have that fun. And you don't get that, right? So I've been out of competition. My last competition was, I think 2018, 2019. It's been over a year.
Right.
It's been over a year. So these are real things that I miss. And so the second question, Sarah's like, well, okay, if you missed out on training, right, what would you miss the most? And there, I think it's the problem solving that Jennifer talked about, and she takes so much satisfaction from. I feel the same way. I love solving the challenge, not just of the sequence, but of teaching the dog a particular skill. Okay, they keep watching this backside. How can I make it easier for them so that they get the idea? And for me and my golden retriever now, the post-training rub. So as soon as we're done with a set or a repetition or something, I just sit down in the grass and she just comes to me and I just rub her belly and rub her back and she just loves it. And she's just rubbing on me. We enjoy the unwinding. So I wrote that in there. And then she has this cool one here. I think this one's very cool. So everyone can think about your best agility memory. I've got a ton. But the one that really sticks out in my mind was running my Rottweiler at the National Agility Championship for AKC in the Challenger round, where she ran clean. This is way back in 2008. I still remember most of the course, right, and what she looked like. So that's the kind of impact it made on me, emotionally. So I thought that was pretty cool.
All right. So this is mainly to get your brain thinking about why you love agility. Now that you've done that, we have our 9 categories and you're going to rank order them. And I really want everybody to understand that there is no right or wrong here. We all probably have aspects of all of these that we love about agility. But we're just trying to rank order them so we can kind of see what you love the most, what is most impactful for you. And so here, again, we have Esteban who filled this out, and your top 3 especially.
Yeah, so it's mostly centered around competition. My number one is like everybody else's, the connection and bond with the dog. And when I'm competing with a dog, that dog is a little extra special to me, a little more so than the retired dogs. I know it's unfair, a little more so than the puppies who are not yet competing and training in agility. There's just something really special there. The challenge of training, the thrill of competition, certainly fun is up there. I was a little surprised that social connection was so important to me, with other people, right? So I have that ranked number 4. And activities I feel like I could do on my own without agility, mostly looking at handler, physical well-being, for example, I have just ranked last because, I could maybe get that from the gym or working out or playing a different sport.
Right. All right. So that's page 2. And then I kind of want you to set aside your whys for a little bit. And now I want you to brainstorm your goals. And I'm a big fan of true brainstorming, as in don't filter, don't think, is this really a goal or is it a dream, right? Just just write everything down, everything that you want out of agility, right? It doesn't have to just be the next 12 months. If something pops in your head that's 2 years down the road, write it down before you forget it. Just get down on paper all of the things that you want out of agility. And then you can kind of refine those into some more goals. And I put this here so you can print it out multiple times if you want. If you want to, here's just a little primer on goal setting, like goal setting in 2 minutes. I think a lot of people are probably familiar with this acronym, but it's SMART goals. And it is that you want your goals to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So this worksheet, you can basically start with whatever goal you're thinking about and then refine it a little bit by thinking, is this goal really specific? If not, how can I adjust it to make it specific? So here Esteban's gone through one of his goals.
Yeah. So this is my actual goal, right? I have a golden retriever, Ellie. She's a little over 2 years old now. COVID set us back a little bit, but I'd like to debut her sometime this fall. So novice debut, fall 2021. I go through the SMART process here, and I look down at A under achievable, and I'm looking at the skills required. And I don't have any of these skills right now. They're in various stages of progress. And so it kind of gives me an idea of what I need to do, right, to get to that novice debut in the fall. And at the end, after I go through the process, I look at it and I say, okay, I'm going to keep my goal. So I rewrite my goal. And I basically wrote the same goal, right? Because I think it's reasonable to get there. But now that I look at kind of what I need to do to get there, I realize, hey, even fall 2021 might be a little close. It may get pushed off to the winter or the spring. It's going to depend a lot on different variables, not just how she does, but availability of trials and how busy are we with the kids' school activities and things like that. So just being able to set expectations, I think going through this process will kind of help you know what exactly you need to do.
Right. And then here's where things are going to get interesting. I want you to match your goals and your whys. So here we have the 9 different whys categories. And this box here is for you to put the ranking that you already did on page 2. You just rewrite it here for reference. And then these goals are going to touch on different whys. And the reason why this is important is because the better aligned your goal is with why you love the sport, the easier it's going to be for you to put in the work, to stick with it, to do it, because the process of getting that goal is going to be enjoyable, right?
Right.
So, what I want you to do is to do that, but then also notice, where you're not touching on these different things.
Right. So for my goal, if we look at my goal, right, the 3 most important things, they just happen to be at the top, right? They're all based on competition and the challenge of training, which is, directly related to getting ready for competition and the connection and bond that I'm going to get with dogs who I compete with, right? So those are my top 3, and they're all met very well by this goal of novice debut. But then what about that other thing? There's a gap, right? In my number 4. My number 4 was I want social connection. Right? I want to get out there with other people. But if you went back and looked at my goal doesn't address that at all, right? There's that disconnect. Here's something that's really important to me. It's a large part of why I do agility, and it's nowhere in my plan, right? So I think that might cause me some unhappiness, right? And so I wrote in here, I want to make plans. I'm going to do outdoor meals with vaccinated friends, for example. Obviously things can change in several months. We're going to stay up on that, certainly. But in each of these categories, I have stuff that I feel like I can add on, right? So under dog mental well-being, I didn't address that, right? But that's my number 5, and that's important. I need to get her comfortable in new places. This is a dog who's a little spooky in new places, right? Refuses to take tunnels. What dog doesn't take a tunnel, right? But she was so nervous she didn't want to take a tunnel on a new field. And then under dog physical well-being, so I'm always very concerned about the dog. For example, I had nothing for that. But I am very aware that the last Golden I ran, Gitchy, the cone with Susan Fraser, had to retire because of injury, shoulder injury. She had arthroscopic surgery, right? She had the platelet treatment, stem cell treatment, all that stuff. She did all of that, right? And with this dog, I'm going to be very, very careful. Not careful like, oh, you can't do anything, but I'm going to be careful in that I'm going to make sure that she's physically fit. I'm going to make sure that we are doing our prehab. So if you guys have never heard that term before, prehab, right? This is really hot in the medical field right now in sports medicine, sports science. It's this idea that we don't wait for injuries to happen, right? If your dog gets hurt, now you got to go get evaluated. You get the workup. You meet with a physical therapist, and now you're getting rehab. Okay. But maybe we can do things that make our dog a little more resistant to injury. We call it prehab. Very clever.
I like it.
Very clever. So you're going to see it all over the internet with human sports medicine. And now it's arrived here in the dog world. So prehab for me and this dog is going to be really, really important, but I don't have it anywhere on my sheet, right? So there's that disconnect again. So I need to go back and I need to make sure that I have that, right? And I don't start it like the week before the trial, or I say, she's just 2, she's fine. I'm not going to do this until she's 6 or 7. All right. That's no good. That's not too late. So I want to educate myself about prehab.
All right. So this is what we want you to do. And I think that if you go through this process, you're going to really uncover a lot that's helpful for you and your dog and your planning.
So as all of you out there begin mapping out what the next 12 months is going to look like for you, knowing exactly why you do agility and why those things are important to you is critical in your planning. And know that you are going to run into problems and occasionally you're going to get stuck. And that's when you'll ask yourself, what now, right? You hit that bump in the road. What are you going to do about it? And that's what we're going to be talking about this Thursday for part 2 of our series. That's this coming Thursday, 2 days away, May 20th, same time, 7 p.m. Central.
That's right. So right now, be sure to download your worksheet at baddogagility.com/video1. I'm going to put that back up here on the screen. There we go. And let us know your biggest takeaway in the comments section on that page. And I did mention a second toy prize giveaway, and that is going to be taken at random from one of those comments. So it has to be on that page, not on Facebook. So leave your biggest takeaway at baddogagility.com/video1. Another toy prize package giveaway for that. And we'll pull that winner in 24 hours because I want to give people a chance to watch the video, download the worksheet, put in a little bit of time on the worksheet and, ruminate on it for a little bit. And if you found this video helpful, please help us spread the word by sharing. We are going to go pull that winner right after we finish this live presentation, and we will see you Thursday. Happy training.
See ya.